Right, which is one of the strengths of studying in New Zealand, I think, is the fact that you feel, and the people there make you feel welcome, which is a big deal when you're going such a long way away from home, your culture, your food, your environment, your climate, and then you go to a place, I've also studied abroad, and it takes a while to settle in. But when you're working in a culture that is inclusive, that embraces diversity, that is welcoming, then your journey becomes so enjoyable, and these are people you stay in touch with for the rest of your life. Alex and you hopefully as two friends.
I've traveled across 5 continents, 40 countries, but every time I get asked which is your favorite country, it's always New Zealand.
That's wonderful.
And it will all. I think it might always be New Zealand.
Thank you.
Queenstown, my favorite city. So
No, thank you, Amit, for sharing that with so much passion. I'll turn now to Shabana. Shabana's here. Yeah, I know that. So, if you could share maybe your top 3 learnings from your time in New Zealand at university.
Thank you, Soha, but it's a really difficult question to answer because I think I can write a book about it. So
don't do that right now. Just
yeah, not right now. I will just take it as a 3. So I think I'm a passionate researcher, and much of it also comes from what I learned in New Zealand. So first thing I really learned about the value of practical as well as interdisciplinary learning. And as Jugnu shared, I was based at the School of Geography, Environment and Earth Sciences. So every Friday there used to be a lecture from different subject backgrounds. So we didn't only have the physical and human geographer, but also people from development studies, environmental sciences, as well as Antarctica Research Center and geology and all of that, and I get to learn all of it. I think it's much easier to learn through an expert when they are speaking in front of you rather than reading all those interdisciplinary books. So it really helped me a lot to grasp their point of view. And I think in New Zealand, even all of research is very practical, and I get to meet all the professionals from disaster management field because my research was on natural hazards and disaster. I met so many people from Ministry of Civil Defense and Emergency Management, which was really great, and that made me to think more passionately about my research because it did have a direct implication what governments can do, what people can do about such situations. So that is my first learning. The second one is I got to be more independent. I think I went to New Zealand when I was 25, 26 years, but it was the first time I was moving out of my house to live somewhere which I don't know anything about. Even though I got a lot of counseling, including Jugnu, I remember, first time I met that friend as well. And I went there, my supervisor and all the people were very comforting. Initially, it was a shock from Delhi, such a big scale difference to going to Wellington. But like after 5 years, I never wanted to come back. I was like, I want to be here. And Wellington is my favorite city as well, still now. And so I get to learn so much. And after, just within a few weeks of going there, I started teaching as well because that was part of my scholarship. And I saw the young, graduate students with whom I was working, and they were so much independent. So those people also inspired me a lot. So the third key lesson I really got is to value the different point of views, and because New Zealand is truly international, there are people from all over the world, and everyone who has been there, no one wants to go back. So I have so many German friends that I made in New Zealand, and they never wanted to go back to Germany. So it was strange, but everyone is like that. And I also learned agree to disagree. That was really great thing, I think, because we can value someone's point of view without having to agree to it. And I really like that New Zealand pays a lot of attention, and it really values the nature and people with diversity. So, and inclusiveness what New Zealand has is, I think we can learn a lot. So I think that is pretty much my takeaways, and there are more, but I think we don't have time.
No, there's no time within your time. I was really listening to you with so much attention because I also relate to the fact that a good education is so much more than having access to even good books or good professors. It's really about the whole experience. And I think it speaks volumes that both of you have found favorite cities in New Zealand from your short time there. And in terms of your experiences, in terms of the independence Like for me, I studied history abroad as well, but it wasn't about the dates at all. It was just about really learning how to navigate in a foreign culture, how to use a washing machine, how to use public transport, things that when you come from a protected background, in India perhaps, you're a little nervous about doing. And it really teaches you again how to hold your own, how to have an independent way of thinking, how to respect other people's points of views and other cultures, and yet represent your own and be proud of your own. So that's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Shabana, for sharing that. And now that brings me to Surbi. And you have a wonderful background in sport, and of course you're very passionate and continue to be about sport, and that must have been a natural reason for you to want to go to New Zealand. We've heard about the skydiving. Can you tell me perhaps 3 of your favorite activities that you encountered or experienced in your time at university there? Well, our time starts now.
Awesome. I would say the first one, coming from a sport background, it would definitely be go for a rugby match, especially if it's New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because they will have their haka before every match, which is their warrior dance before every match.
Nice.
And that's an experience that I think everyone in this world must experience. Okay.
Must experience that experience, yes.
Second, I would say, well, everybody says skydiving and bungee jumping, but I would go for the treks, the jungle walks, and the treks.
I will go with you on those treks.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I would love to come with you.
Yeah.
Forests are beautiful, and like everybody says, there's nothing dangerous in New Zealand, so you can just go with a free mind. I think my best experience in my walks was probably I was standing on a mountain with a blue lake on my right and a green lake on my left. It was beautiful. Third one I would say would be go for the hot springs. So they just have these natural hot springs where you can just go for a dip. My favorite one was at the Cathedral Cove, where you just go with a spade with your friends. Like go on a road trip, go with a spade with your friends, dig at the beach, and there's going to be hot water coming out.
Really? Wow.
And you can just sit in that water and relax. It's beautiful.
It's so nice. That's.
Yeah.
How long ago were you there? How many years ago?
2015 to 2017, 2 years.
2 years. That's wonderful. It's just to be in the outdoors, to be in a natural environment that has so much to offer, that you can also learn from is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Is it too late for me to go to New Zealand as a student?
Too late.
It's never too late, right?
And we have all of the New Zealand universities here ready to sign you up.
So we should chat.
Yeah, we should.
Because I think that this is an experience. I mean, you're speaking with so much passion, and I'm definitely feeling that I have a few years left, but I want to know. I don't know about the skydiving, but there's an adventurous side of me that I definitely want to explore. And, we can marry that together with some learning, and can take my family along.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
What's the longest course I can do?
Well, then it's lifelong.
Can I be a doctor? It's too late to be a doctor.
Sorry, can I add to that, please? I actually had students in my class who were like probably 20, 30 years older than me.
Yeah.
And just did not matter. Not at all.
No, it's really wonderful. I'm hearing so much about it. I'm very excited about this partnership. And before we move forward, I know that the Kiwi advocates have talked about their experiences there, but Grant, is there anything that you would like to add for a potential Indian student and aspirant wanting to study in New Zealand, or something that would draw them to New Zealand as a place to study?
I think there's a couple of things, and we're incredibly proud about our own education system, and then to come out into the international markets and see people that have come to our country to experience it makes me even more proud of our education system. And I thank our Kiwi ambassadors for their reflections on coming to New Zealand. And if there's a few things that have come out, one, it's not only that you're going to get that high quality education that can set you up for life in terms of you're work ready, you can go into other parts of the world with this qualification that just is so valuable and powerful for you. And as we've talked about, our New Zealand universities are really in the top level of around the world. That's really one thing. But it's actually that broader experience that I think you touched on about how it rounds you out as a person. You get to do things, meet people that are going to be different from you, and it's all in a very open and safe environment. That you can You can exchange ideas without threats. You can actually work with other people from other cultures. I mean, we've heard your best friend was Maori, you met some German students that are now your friends, and that's a really great environment that as a young person to engage with. And I think that that's something that New Zealand can do. Then you've got the broader lifestyle that we talked about, and you heard a lot about the outdoor activities, but also there's a lot of cultural events that you can go to and a whole range of things. I think the other thing that's really important for New Zealand is international students come back into our country. You know, our borders have only recently reopened in the last 6 months, so it's great to have them open, is that you're bringing your culture to our country as well. And so for our New Zealand students, like Alex, for them to understand the wider world, understand how different people from different parts of the world think, speak, how they engage, is incredible learning for a country like ours, and those global connections are just so important. The other thing, I think New Zealand is really making attractive kind of settings so that people can come, they come for their education, but then they've got opportunities to explore our country, to gain some experience in the work environment that allows them to move on, come home. To meet these ambassadors who have come back to India and creating their new life. So the thing with New Zealand is it's got so many elements to an international education experience, and it's also accessible. And that again came through in the comments that have been made today. So we are really very open, we're welcoming, and we are really looking forward to seeing Indian students come to New Zealand to kind of further the next step of their lives.
Wonderful, thank you, Grant. I think I really learned a lot from this discussion. I already knew, I have to say, quite a lot of it. But it's wonderful to hear people speaking truly passionately. And I think, again, as I said, one of the things that you said was these are friends that you make for life. These are cities that continue to be your favorite places to live and experience. That means so much. And of course, New Zealand is far away, but the fact that this world is becoming smaller, more accessible, that cultures are so entwined, and we have work and friends and families that now live all over the world. It's just wonderful that your borders, as you said, are recently open again, and this is an exchange that we want to promote and further. So it's great. And thank you, Grant, firstly for being here and for sharing that, and to our advocates, to Amit, to Shabana, to Surbi for sharing your perspectives. I think that's me trying to close this session and handing the mic back to you, Jugnu, virtually, so that you can.
Thank you so much, Soha. I think you did a really good job as the interviewer. So that's a new one that you can probably explore.
I can put that on my CV now.
Ed was in charge.
Yes, I was in charge briefly.
Interviewing New Zealand delegates.
Yes.
So thank you very much. I think we will now close the session, and we have some media interviews after that. And to all our guests here, please feel free to join us for lunch. And Soha will be here for a bit to answer some questions from the media. Thank you very much for being here today and for all of this beautiful conversations that we've had. A big thank you to all our Kiwi ambassadors for coming over and sharing their stories. They were really inspiring for a lot of students like yourselves who are still considering about going to New Zealand and thinking about why. So you really answered those whys really well. And thank you very much, Grant, for speaking to the media and giving us all of that conversations about the delegation and what is the strategy that New Zealand is looking at in terms of collaborating more with India. And thank you very much, Soha, for advocating all of that. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.